Would you agree or disagree that the United States, not Ukraine, was responsible for the drone attack on the Kremlin? Would you agree or disagree with that?
I am going to agree with that. I don't think
Hmm.
Kyiv or Ukraine would do this independently without some kind of okay approval from the United States and NATO. So, as far as I
Because
know,
the United States and NATO are daddy. We are the money.
right.
We are daddy.
Now, somebody did point out that maybe this is a false flag, that maybe Russia did this to themselves. I doubt it because I don't think they were backed into a corner or anything. I think the war is going pretty well for them. Just nice, slowly, just keep putting the pressure on until they get what they want. So they wouldn't. I don't think they would have any reason to, do something like this. That's kind of a desperate maneuver. But what also is a desperate maneuver is trying to just assassinate Putin at the Kremlin, which is right behind me. The smoke is clear. It's dark here. It's in Russia. It's nighttime.
This is the drone. And so, like, the question is, did the drone, um, was it already, because I read early reports, I don't know if it's changed, but the early reports said that it was disabled and it coasted down where it popped right at the end there. Do we know, is that still true, or have they changed the story? I know you can't believe any reporting in the first 72 hours on any story. But yeah, this is the video footage of the attack on the Kremlin. Blake, what do we know? What are we speculating essentially? Because like that's where like this could have been an assassination attempt on the president of Russia in an
Right.
undeclared war that we are fully financing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it could be. I mean, that's what it looks like it would be. But I don't know what these drones are capable of. I don't know what would had a payload that might have been on it. As you can see, it's detonated there. I know the Russians are supposedly have some world class air defense. Maybe they could have gotten it sooner, or maybe it slipped under the radar. I'm not exactly sure.
Could you imagine if there had been an explosion like this at the Capitol from an outside force? I mean, like, think how Russia must be thinking now. It's like, you've blown up our pipeline. You are sending bombs to our home. I mean, it doesn't get any more personal than this, Blake.
Yeah, and Russia is going to retaliate at some point. So this is from Mike Barra here. Get your popcorn. Meanwhile, in Russia, I think you put this tweet out earlier too, Brian, from Kim.com, saying the Russian strategic nuclear force has been ordered into the highest alert today. It means nuclear bombers, submarines, and missiles are ready for immediate action if the order for a strike is given. We are literally one step away from nuclear annihilation. Pulled this up out of Becker News that Russia is blaming the United States for the drone attack and the assassination attempt. So, according to Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, Russia claimed that the U.S. was the mastermind behind the attack, while Ukraine was merely executing Washington's plans. Despite the alleged attack, Peskov confirmed that President Putin was carrying out his duties in his office as usual. I also mentioned that security measures would be heightened in the aftermath. Yes, it was 2 unmanned aerial vehicles brought down without causing any casualties or damage.
Yeah, there's all sorts of different videos showing different angles. I kind of like that first one that I led with, but I mean, there you go. I guess that was the second one, huh? People are cheering and screaming. I mean, imagine that's the White House. Imagine that's Capitol Hill. If we're going to be in war, a war needs to be declared. This has been a major complaint of mine, of social libertarians for a long time, Blake. These undeclared conflicts are kind of the worst, Blake. They're the worst. They're the absolute worst.
It's different, yeah. Rather than just getting congressional approval the way it's supposed to be done, they can just do these proxy wars. And now we've got Ukraine and NATO, meddling around and poking the Russian bear. And the Russians had enough. finally wanted to go into Ukraine and liberate the Donbass and Crimea and some of the eastern regions that would rather be with Russia. They're not treated very nicely by Ukraine and the leadership. And so it's also a threat to Putin's security. And so he's put this war out there, and it's been very slow moving, very careful not to minimizing civilian casualties. And then we've had the biolabs. There's been a lot of things exposed in this, as well as the Americans, most likely, who blew up the Nord Stream pipelines to blame it on Russia to get people on their side.
Well, this is how dumb the Democrats are. I mean, these guys, they literally think you will buy anything. They're the biggest snake oil salesmen out there. Oh, yeah. Russia blew up their own pipeline. It's not even remotely likely. Dreamer Ultra in the comments is saying, hey, guys, this warmongering is getting crazy. And David Lopan is saying it barely took out the flagpole. I mean, okay, sure. Yeah. Yes. It barely took out the flagpole. But I mean, those were 2 explosions. Maybe they were sending a message. Well, what message are we sending? Like they're one button press away. Everybody is on alert right now. One itchy little, one mistake, one.
You don't really want to piss off the Russians. They do not play around. So I don't know what was behind all of this. We'll see what happens with the investigation. Yeah, maybe they weren't really dangerous enough to do any real damage had they hit their intended target. I don't know, but that's still not a good thing. Not when things are intense like they are. And Putin has already warned he is not going to play games if somebody goes on the offensive against him. He's got his agenda, involved in the Ukraine, and he does not want any outsider interference.
So agree or disagree on this? I'm not going to agree that it was the U.S., but I mean, we're the ones driving this. We're the ones pushing on this. Right? I mean, this is just no. I mean, I guess the official story is that Putin is the sole aggressor. They're not talking about NATO. They're not talking about the expansion of an organization that's designed to just what would you say? Pretty much destroy Russia, to keep Russia in check, to antagonize Russia. Like the expansion of that, people that are just going to say, "Oh, Putin bad, Putin bad." Okay, well, what got to the point where Putin acted? What led up to that? And you see when the Obama-Biden regime overthrew Ukraine in 2013, 14, moving forward, they installed their own rogue puppet regime. Goodness, Blake, your background.
I know. I think I overloaded my computer.
God, I can't get over you not having your background. This really is. You are the man behind the curtain in Wizard of Oz.
I guess so. Right, wow. I've been exposed.
You're actually in front of the curtain.
I was not at the Kremlin. I was lying. All right.
Yeah, I would have never guessed.